It's wonderful to be back down under for the Australian Grand Prix. We're a stone's throw from the beach here at the Albert Park circuit. It might be party mood in the grandstands, but in the paddock, expectations and tensions are high. The fans here in Melbourne are all set, as are the drivers, heading into 58 laps around Albert Park. And as the cameras turn to the Williams driver, you have to wonder what they can manage here.
They start in P1, but will they be able to stay there? The first corner could be so crucial.
Here we go. It's time to go racing. Brace yourselves for the Australian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Ollie Behrman, the man of the moment, starts on the front row. Porsche on the back row. Behrman, not just on the front row, pole position. And he does get the whole shot and starts out right out front with two McLarens behind him, but already getting overtaken here. Just a couple corners in. That's okay. I would love for him to settle into a P2 and to be able to drive away and stretch the field, but he's actually hanging on to that P1 for the time being. The plan. And this whole Behrman on front row could throw a wrench in that plan. The plan today was to do kind of a one-off, something a little bit different, as the first lap is in the books, and we do complete the lap at the front, and we do have a bit of a gap over Magnussen right now. If we can continue to pull away, it would be really nice to get out of that, or beyond that DRS range by the time it becomes available, and see it stretch out that much more. We are starting to pull away a little bit from Stroll, but that is backing him up towards Magnussen, not myself pulling further away from Magnussen, so he's back within DRS range for now. Florsch is up a position. She's around Albon. Let's go ahead and get her settled in first. The plan before this whole we're on pole thing caught me out a little bit was going to be to try to get 3, even possibly 4 races in one episode. Not the norm, but in the back of my mind, this is what I'm hoping to be the last season where we have a male driver. He's the last male that we have. Our goal for the all-female challenge, we've never had all-female. The staff, 100% now, all-female. Main driver, reserve driver, long-time female now, but we still have that one seat, and we rely so heavily on it. I'm over it. I'm done with it. I'm ready to begin that era. Now, are we ready to survive and not lose our job and score points? That's the other matter. That's the only reason why we haven't just done it, right? That's the only reason why we didn't kick off with that exact scenario. So it's a risky move. But one way or another, continually relying on that male driver, especially this season, looks like we found a good one in Ollie Behrman. I mean, what a coincidence, the timing, that we go and bring Ollie Behrman into the team, and literally days later, and in the video I go, I believe he's F1 reserve driver, right? Or at least F1 Academy. Days later, the F1 reserve driver, Ollie Behrman, thanks to appendicitis, is in the race seat and puts on a decent performance and gets a whole lot of attention. Swapping back and forth for 1 and 2, but the field not stretching. Right now it's not stretching at all. That's the worrying thing, is it's still close together, and that's the worrying thing. Florsch is closer than she's ever been to the lead drivers. She is getting faster. She used to be 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds a lap, depending on the track, off the pace of her teammate. And she would be 2 or 3 laps down. And yeah, the teammates were struggling towards the back too, not scoring points, right? That was the early days. She got better. She closed that gap. These days, she's 0.8, roughly. 0.8 off the pace. That's still poor. That's still bad. and that's a lot of pace to give up. It's a lot of pace to give up. The car has to be extraordinary for that to work out. The problem we have with the field right now is that we might have the car that is slightly the best, but there is no field spread. And you're seeing it here. The evidence of it is here. 7 laps in, and we've barely seen what is normally about 2 laps worth of spread. It's taken 7 laps to get there. The field is close. And when you are off on the pace, it hurts you that much. Behrman qualified pole. Organically, naturally, no bonuses, nothing crazy happened. He qualified pole. In practice, he wasn't that fast. He was probably 5th or 6th fastest. I have no expectations of him winning today, but right now it's looking like we could compete for a podium, and that would be a great result. Other than the whole, you could only manage to score so many points. But I have no intention to nerf Behrman this season, because if he does score enough points, if he puts us comfortably into a position well before the end of the season, we can get a free quarter or third or half of a season with female driver, with Tanaka presumably in the seat. Fire Behrman for doing too good. What a plan. Let Tanaka go out there, score no points alongside Florsch, score no points, and see our position drop from 4th or 5th in the standings down to where we want to be at 7th or even 8th for that matter. The earlier the better on that sort of move. And I'm getting absolutely nowhere on this whole I want to do 3 or 4 races thing, but Behrman's competing for a win right now, so it's kind of stealing the thunder on my mini goal for today. I cannot do 3 to 4 episodes at a time consistently. Just to do 2 races in one episode, this is the longest production time of all of the series that I run. Takes a lot of time, and I'm already a 70-hour-a-week individual, so to do additional, to make that real hard push, that 3-4 races into one episode, what you're seeing out of that is roughly the same in length, but the production time for me goes up significantly. I can speed a couple things up a little bit that way, shave off some time, but guaranteed it still takes longer than it does to do 2 races, to do 3 or 4. By a fair margin. There's still a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. So I'm just adding to that time to record an episode. But Behrman back into the lead, very much competing there. Stroll fell off a little bit. Verstappen is off a little bit. That's not Verstappen racing us in the Red Bull. It's Sainz, the very guy who just sat out the race weekend with that appendicitis for Ollie Behrman. So there they are. Is Behrman really racing for Sainz's seat? Well, obviously not, because Hamilton's taking Sainz's seat. Florsch is up to 17th. She's having a good race. In practice, she was consistently about 15th. So I was actually disappointed in her qualifying effort to only be 19th. But that's the thing. When it really comes down to it, the car can help give you some race pace. But that 1 lap pace, really that driver input is huge at that point. And so where she's at in practice, just consistently making runs, and the laps that she's able to put in there, the one-off laps, the inconsistent one-off lap, versus the let's push, let's do it, let's go, qualifying all out, best effort. Her best effort's just not the same. And so you see her qualify lower than where she's at. So her pace really isn't 19th. She's in 16th now. And like I said, her pace seems to be about 15th today. The car's looking really good. Behrman's competing now in what is 2 cars starting to pull away. Stroll now 2nd and a half back. Norris is a little bit back. We are starting to get that field spread. And Florsch's group is definitely back. Guan Yu Zhou, 4 seconds off 12th place. So he's back a ways. Russell also a little bit back at 3 seconds. So there's another group that is starting to drift back. I'm going for the one stop today. The medium to hard is supposed to be ever so slightly faster. And you can certainly lean on the tires a little bit more and push a little bit harder to run that strategy. But I fear the undercut. So I'm going to go for the soft to hard, which means pitting earlier and coming out and giving it a go, because that track position is going to matter. And with field spread happening, it will play out in that undercut advantage where we're already ahead. You pit a little bit earlier, you're going to get even further ahead. So by the time everybody else makes their one stop, you're good. And for anybody going for the two stopper, I doubt that most, if not everybody, I don't think anybody's going to really bother with. So again, going back to the goal for the day, I think it makes sense. As Stroll has backed right on up to that group, he's now 2.5 seconds back. Pit window is entered. I think we can afford to push on for these last few laps as we're entering this pit window. If I'm going to manage to get a few episodes in, it's going to really come down to being more aggressive, giving you a little less what's going on with the season, with the development. The one thing I definitely want to keep up on, driver development, turn of the month. Because that's the big key. Tanaka needs cornering. Florsch needs anything pace related, as will Florsch. Like I said, I think we're looking to use the undercut to our advantage. So it's time. For now, Behrman is second. Florsch up to 14th. And I'm not sure that anybody has pit yet. Let's go ahead and check before we get Dragovic. Dragovic is the only one who has pit already and on softs. So Dragovic is clearly going for a two-stop strategy as Behrman enters pit road. On board with Behrman, and it's a good stop. 2.283 for Florsch on pit road, just behind him. Can we get a good stop here as well? A little bit more of a standard stop there with a 2.553. Pretty decent, but that was a great stop for Behrman. Now, we're going to come out in clean air on the hards. Good to go the distance and chance to undercut right now. But clearly, we have some complications when it comes to just our location. We're 17th and 20th out on track here. We just want to get up to temperature here early on. Fuel's not going to be much of a problem. I'm not going to push. I don't want to have to deal with that later. But Behrman is catching up to Hadier right now, and that's a problem, right? That's the one. We've got traffic. We have definite traffic. So for this undercut to be successful, we are going to have to find a way around this traffic, and we will push when that time comes. So for now, we're right on board. I'm going to speed it up, but with you on board. Getting around one car there is going to be the key now, because with DRS, the Alpine had DRS there, but he will not on the next sector. We should be able to get around that last one and be able to continue our push in clean air for some time after that. And we're doing it without overheating, so while we've burnt maybe 1% extra in terms of tire wear, it's not severe. We should have had the overtake here, and we will get up the inside. We will get by. So down to standard. Okay, I don't think he's going to be able to re-overtake us, but we'll keep the fuel pushing here down the straight. 4 cars into the pits, but we are ahead of all of them for now. And with that clean air, yellow flag. Piastri with the lockup. 6 seconds ahead of Stroll is where we're at right now. That's the advantage we've been able to gain with the undercut. Now just 12.5 seconds down. Florsch is 17th. Let's go ahead and go back to standard for her. Pushed on there for a bit. There's more cars pitting now. She's up to 14th. It's a good performance for her. She's almost within range on Piastri. Looking a valuable tool here. And Florsch up to 13th now. And caught up. No, Alpine got around her, actually. So she would have been 12th otherwise. Are we going to be coming back at them later? I did not realize that everybody else is taking a very different look on this one. I'm the only one on the hards. Multiple cars have crashed. Florsch is involved. This is right after the overtake, so the follow-up to that.
The cars there,
Aston Martin, every freaking time.
Now that had the potential to do
well,
some real damage,
Florsch's day is ruined, right?
of
She's
that
running
collision.
13th, 14th, and now that's going to just bump her right down to the back, plus no confidence after that. Minor damage to the front wing, we're not going to change it. I don't know how bad it's going to impact her, though. I would imagine it's going to slow her down a little bit. Florsch picks up the time penalty. This game has no idea what it's doing when it comes to penalties. Car on the inside lost the apex and drove into us. It was pretty close on that part, though. I don't know. Maybe it was her. Sure looked like she was just holding her line, and the Aston Martin lost the apex and came into her. Penalty being served. 5 seconds. Okay, what are we still waiting on? Okay, that was the wing change as well. Oh, we're still carrying the penalty. That was not the penalty. That was...
Karun Chandog,
And a
talk us
pit
through
stop
this
issue?
one.
Oh, what?
But
Oh,
there comes the
that was
wing.
so confusing. It's like they're waiting for the penalty, but no, they're going to change the wing. Did
But
she
hang on,
do a pit at
you're
all?
right. It's not tight enough.
It just didn't. Right rear. She didn't serve the penalty. Pourchaire also pit. Okay, back to Behrman, who is down to P2, so our big undercut advantage is gone. But what's going to happen with those on the mediums? Are they going to be weak at the end of the race? I mean, they're already down to a similar level we are. Are they going to pit a second time? Those on the softs? I think they're almost guaranteed to pit a second time. I don't know where we're at strategy-wise anymore. All I know is that Florsch, her day is messed up. 17 laps to go. Might still have to do a little lift and coast. The field spread for Florsch and Pourchaire has definitely bumped them up to where they could end up getting lapped. They wouldn't have been lapped here. The field spread's not that big. But under the circumstances of their collision, the time off the track plus the extra pit stop plus the wing replacement, that combination is, put them half a minute behind everybody else, which is putting them potentially a lap down before the end of this thing. Right now, Behrman is third. Top four are definitely running away with it, so it's the 2 Red Bulls and a McLaren. But again, with extra pit stops possible, it's hard to say where we're going to be. But at lap 50, I'm kind of thinking they're all going to be sticking it out. We're just going to have to push in these final laps to try to make an aggressive overtake. But Florsch is at least ahead of Pourchaire, staying ahead of Pourchaire, but is she 5 seconds ahead of Pourchaire? Not right now, so she'll have to make a push in these dying laps to try to pull away to at least get 19th. Her fuel looks like it's going to be right. Behrman's going to have to lift and coast just a little bit, just briefly, to get the job done. We're still 4 seconds ahead of those behind us, but we're nearly 5 seconds ahead of Verstappen and Stroll. So our best hope right now is to just beat Sainz and get P3, and that's already taken care of the fuel very quickly, so that part's easy. Get a little bit of spare so we can make a push. Tire wear for the others. 32 for Sainz. He's going to be a sitting duck here real soon. Stroll and Verstappen hang on a little bit better, so looks like the soft to medium would have been fine. Didn't even show up as a pit strategy option for me. The team didn't think that it was going to be possible. Yeah, disappointed that I didn't even see it as a potential strategy, because clearly it's worked just fine and it's cost us a potential victory here, especially with the undercut. The undercut worked so well. We of course would have had to last a few laps longer, but we're just on a much slower compound. Final lap, so full attack, gotta go conserve. She's still got over a lap to go, so she's at 0. So Behrman takes third. It's a podium. It's good.
Over the finish line,
and right now Pourchaire is just over 5 seconds behind Florsch. So at the moment anyway, she's gonna keep that position. And did get closer to those ahead. I mean, she was half a minute down. She definitely gained some time on them. I think she would have had 13th today. Wouldn't have been points, but well, I don't know. She was on the hards. She wouldn't have had the same pace on the hards. We already saw with Behrman that it definitely knocked us back a bit. So I'm guessing she would have been a little lower, 15th, maybe 16th. Certainly well ahead of Maloney. But for now, she keeps going with cross the line, 5.5 seconds ahead of Pourchaire. So she will serve that penalty immediately here at the finish line and stay in P19. Comfortably 5th after doubling our points haul on the season so far. Also, with a first and third in the point stop competition, we are comfortably first right now. Here's that driver development update. +1 to control for Behrman and +1 to accuracy. We do have some pace advantage for Florsch, but only +1 to braking, +1 to control to make less mistakes. I still don't think the penalty in the last race was her mistake, but holy crap, this is a good one for Tanaka. Her weakest pace area, the only thing that she's behind. I've started to pay a little more attention to what's going on practice-wise with Florsch. Her cornering is a serious advantage over Tanaka. Her braking, better. The control, yeah, okay, she's behind there. Tanaka's going to make more mistakes. The smoothness is behind. The adaptability is behind. There's a reason why she's got a 10-point difference in their overall. The reactions, 61, 69. So Tanaka has better reactions, has better braking by about 10 points each. But she was 15 points behind on cornering. It offset. But +19 and -15 meant that Tanaka, averaging the 3 primary pace attributes, was 4 points ahead. And I've noticed in practice, she's just a little bit quicker than Florsch. +3 to cornering. That's a huge gain for her. That is a huge gain. And I was thinking, just before I started the recording of this episode, that if I can get Tanaka to a 60+ this season in cornering, then she's ready to take that second seat. And she'll be faster than Florsch. She'll make more mistakes. She'll have a hard time defending. It'll be a mixed bag with her. But pure pace, she'll be quicker. And that +3 to cornering is a huge step in that direction. And actually that smoothness is a good point for her because she's really weak on the compounds. But that was a huge gain. As close as the field has gotten, I was kind of hoping for a major technical change for the year, as we saw how it worked wonders the last time that came about. It's not going to happen. We're looking at minor changes. Once again, we have either high-speed wing changes or low-speed wing changes. I think I can recover the high speed easier than the low speed. The low speed seems to be a little harder to pick up. So we're going to vote for high speed changes, but you can see it's only the wing. This time the tiebreaker went against us. It was a dead heat in terms of low speed and high speed, but the tiebreaker has picked the low speed changes. Not a big deal. A little disappointed that it's only 2 car parts that are going to be affected. I should have a pretty easy time recovering the losses that will be incurred from that one, but at least it will impact some others and make things a little different, a little difficult, and could give us a bit of an aerodynamic edge to start the new season.
Greetings from Azerbaijan, where we're back in the country's capital. The spectacular Baku city circuit will take drivers right through the city streets, from the narrow roads of the old town to the wide highway alongside the Caspian Sea, where cars will be fighting wheel to wheel this weekend. Our sprint today sees the... Now's the time for the sprint, here in Baku. It's lights out, and away we go.
It's a track I really like, but it's a race I really hate because it starts with a sprint race. And I'm just over these sprint weekends, especially with F1 Manager 23, where you are following the same calendar year after year after year with zero variance. In real life, sprint races move about at least a little bit year to year, so you don't have it again and again at the exact same track. Now, of course, Monaco's never going to have a sprint race. It just doesn't follow the format, but other tracks do. But there's at least multiple tracks, as we've had a lap 1 incident here in this sprint race. We're going to be kind of skipping straight to the end on this one just about right away as the Alfa Romeo turned in on the Haas there. That's definitely his fault. Behrman did not qualify well, but practiced better, so we should see him at least move up a little bit. But with the sprint race and Tanaka taking FP1, he went straight into qualifying first time in the car and just didn't pull it off terribly well. So expectations are very low for this race. Coming around the final bend on the final lap of this sprint race, field spread has definitely happened. Top drivers have definitely pulled away. Behrman has made his way forward. He's made it to 13th and could get just a little push right here to the finish line. But it looks like we're not going to go anywhere. We're right behind Sainz. That's going to be hard to overtake. But Florsch has moved up to 19th. So there's that. She didn't finish last either, but 5 seconds behind everybody else.
Here we go with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Albert Park, we definitely didn't make our goal of trying to speed things up to get 3 or 4 races in. It's already restricted us to 3 at best. But here, even though there's a sprint race, we're not competitive. We're so far back, and Florsch crashes on the first lap.
Flag now. It was the Williams driver we see there. And
Just
ends up
totally
making
self-inflicted.
contact with the barrier.
Gearbox. Great. She destroyed the gearbox. Good thing this is going to be our practice gearbox after this race. Same one that we started the season with. But she does have major front wing damage. Minor chassis, minor suspension, major front wing damage. It's going to ruin her day. Love how they're actually visualizing the wing change here. Took 8.5 seconds. But as you all know, we made such progress with the pit crew, except for in that one area of making those changes after damage. What's that one more second at this point? She's already ruined her race. We do not need to push anymore, though. Just get her up to temperature. On a push, they definitely won't make it, but we'll be settling in here fairly soon for her. So Behrman 14th, actually lost a position here at the start and lost some ground, a couple seconds behind. Not a great start to the race for him. Behrman's pace is starting to show itself. He's up to P12, has overtaken one car after another, quickly closes that DRS, or closes into that DRS range, and is continually making progress that others are not. So that's good. And it looks like we're about to have a red flag, maybe? No, it's getting going again.
Russell's involved.
Russell in the Ferrari plus Verstappen. And hard to say who's at fault there. Really, Russell probably should have tucked in, but Verstappen came across at him. Russell picks up a penalty and pits. Verstappen continues on as is. So Verstappen's in 5th place. Russell just a handful of seconds ahead of Florsch now, and well out of it. Behrman, meanwhile, gets around Sainz and is up to P10. Sainz gets back around him, though, as they were out of DRS range, so swapping. Sainz just set the new fastest lap. They're closing up on those guys. Behrman gets around again. It'll put him, there you go, inside DRS range on Zhou Guan Yu, and quickly closes towards Ocon. So bit by bit, lap by lap, he is moving forward into the points now, and I would think would be a favorite to score some points today, though I don't think he's going to get anywhere near, certainly not the front two. They were well ahead. Into a battle for maybe 5th or 6th by the end of the day. Could be. Magnussen in the McLaren along with the AlphaTauri. Same corner, similar incident, though a bit more alongside. But
as for the team
I think
back
that's
in the garage,
corner 3 there. You've got a number of drivers that are just not. As we're kind of in a 3-wide battle here with Behrman. Pourchaire we've gotten ahead of. Dragovic has moved up a little bit, but we get knocked back down. We're kind of getting caught out here, but being on the softs is absolutely helping us go forward. A lot of cars on mediums have gone backwards. No penalties on that one. That one's seen as a racing incident. We do eventually secure P8. Piastri has pit. Leclerc has pit. And his 5th has pit just now. Oh my. That was those front two and that huge gap that they had. Top two are definitely running away with this race, but as Behrman approaches pit road. Behrman alone on pit road. No traffic to deal with. Terrible stop though, 2.675. Very slow for our team. Not counted as a mistake, but about as slow as they're going to get. Comes out in P17. So Leclerc pits, comes out P4. Well, actually, I think it was P5, right? He's already back up to P4. Behrman pits, even though he was in the points, and comes out this far down. But he's got some clean air to run in. Maloney is 3.5 seconds ahead. That's the only one who might slow us up. But this could be an opportunity for us to undercut some of the other vehicles and continue that forward progress that we were making anyway. And that was it. We're done with our stops for the day. Other cars pit. Behrman now up to 13th. Albin has pit, comes out ahead of us. But we are already moving back in the direction of the points here. P11. Now P9. Battling with Maloney, who we've caught and has not pit yet. Florsch is last. Just after her mistake and the extra pit stop, she is where she is. She will need to pit here at some point. We're past the halfway point, but it's going to be a while before that pit stop comes for her. Behrman now very much up into the points, behind Ocon, but P6, moving backwards a little bit. I don't know if it's the early pit stop or these guys on different compounds. Sonoda is. He's on the softs. But Behrman's going backwards. Not gaining. Losing some ground. A little bit off pace right now on the mediums. He was great on the softs. On the mediums, he is definitely a little bit slow. But if we can settle in to a P7, P8, it'll be a decent points-paying day. It's just sad that Florsch, I think her pit stop, it's about time that it comes. We at least get a good stop. Haven't had one of those yet today, and that's that's two really slow pit stops today. 2.685. Team having a bit of a rough one there. Florsch is a lap down and in traffic, so she's done cooking for the day. Let's go ahead and save components for her. It's practice components, but what does she have going on? Nothing. Behrman, meanwhile, is P7. Top two, well ahead of everybody else. No surprise there. Gaps have definitely opened at the front. Stroll and Ocon not too far ahead of us, and we definitely have traffic behind us. So, if anything, we'd love to close those guys down. But 10 laps to go. We've got to conserve. All right, Behrman, fuel's right. Lap 45. Drop to 10th position though. So go aggressive. And certainly had him, and the opening was there, and we got up alongside, but thought better of it with all the incidents that have happened today. Decided that was not our place. We are a full lap ahead of Florsch, but of course we have not been pushing with her, and she had the extra stop today.
Lando Norris wins it. He's first over the line.
Right, well, Behrman's definitely not going backwards. It's P9 at worst, but can we get something going here on the final straight? Bregovic crashing on turn 16, ruined his chance at points. And that's it, P9. Better than the, gosh, what was it? P17 we started?
57 laps await our competitors here in Miami, so may the best driver win. And this is it, the Miami Grand Prix. And It's lights out, and away we go.
It's another front row, back row situation. But because of making Q3, Behrman only has one set of softs remaining, and the softs won't go alone. Florsch, qualifying last, she's got two sets of softs, so she's going to be able to run a faster strategy, but it does involve a two-stopper. She's going to need to be a little more aggressive in this first stint and try to either at least stay close or make some overtakes if she's going to be competitive at all today with the extra pace of the mediums and softs where everybody else is going to potentially be a bit off the pace. Behrman down to third. How many are opting for the mediums? Well, the front group, it's most. Everybody else seems to be on a similar strategy to Florsch. We'll see what works out. But I'm guessing that's going to keep the field a bit closer together. Verstappen all the way down to P16. Settled in somewhere around position 3, 4, 5. 5 more often than not. Florsch is right there with the back of the pack. Not dropping off, but not gaining either. But so many of the cars around are following the exact same strategy that she is. There's very little field spread, except the front two pulling away, which today involves a different Alfa Romeo than the one it was in the last race. Albon all the way down to P17 this time. Zhou Guanyu leading the race right now. So Alfa Romeo is one of those two teams that is just within a couple points of us, along with Alpine. But that's looking like a pretty strong P7 in the constructors at the moment. Even if we were to change drivers early this season, we might be able to get Tanaka in sooner rather than later, but I do think we need more points. We need at least another podium before we even consider, and I would say probably 2 more high top 5 or better finishes for Behrman to secure those points that we can sit on, and then we can put Tanaka in the seat early. Behrman is currently 6th, so we've dropped 1 more position from where we were as Florsch makes her first stop of the day. 2.521. Last couple of races, we are just not effective as a pit crew. No mistakes last time out, but nothing good. And today, it was better than the 2.6s we got last race, but a 2.5 is still not good, not effective. She's not last. That's already a positive. Maloney, the other one who has already pit, can the undercut give us an advantage? Albon is ahead. So she's still down at P19 for now. Javier all over the back of her. Already lap 21, we're starting to see a lot of the rest of the field pitting. Behrman hanging on. That means there's a lot of cars that are planning on doing a two-stopper today. No, maybe not. Those are just guys who pit early. Undercut, yes. So, final 5 cars that have yet to pit. Behrman is last of those 5, but with a one-stopper coming and all, if not everyone behind us going for a two-stop strategy, we're not looking too bad. But I think once Behrman pits, he's going to be down the order quite a bit. Florsch, 19th. She would have been 18th. At least that's something. And everyone around her is going to be doing a two-stopper similar to her, except for Pourchaire. Pourchaire is the first car that looks like he's going to go the distance, and she's behind him as is, so she's going to have a hard time going forward there. But a lot of cars going for the soft, then medium strategy. Florsch could. Pitting from P5 along with Russell ahead of us there. Behrman could definitely use a good stop here. And finally, yes, there it is, a 2.267. So much better. But way down in P16. Russell clearly going to go the distance as well. We're on the hards, but we're not going to have better pace because we're on the hards. So we've got to at least keep up with those who have undercut us. And we've got to see what our gap is like. 24 seconds down, but that's to Leclerc, who is pitting now. And Zhou pitting now. And Leclerc. Norris. They swapped as he went past, so confused me there for a second. But we're looking at about a 12-second difference to some of the cars that have already pit, which means we are far from being too far down. As for the underfueling, we were down by 2.3, I think. We're down to 1.3 now, and we've already just passed the halfway point. Therefore, it looks like we'll have to coast like this much, maybe 3/10 to recover. Being in 16th makes me nervous. Flourish is only 6 seconds behind us. So the softs and mediums for her, definitely faster. But the one-stop strategy versus the two-stop is the experience that we're encountering right now. We can get ahead of the Alfa Romeo, that would definitely be nice. All over the back of him at this point. And we're now just 11 seconds, so we're actually gaining. For now, we are gaining on the two stoppers. So Norris finally pits, and he's a few seconds behind us, relinquishing the race lead. Now Piastri takes over in the Haas. And we are seeing some unusual positions from teams that do not score a lot of points. Joe's making his way forward. He pit with us. He's now 3.5 seconds ahead of us, all because he was able to overtake Gasly and has kept going. And we have not been able to overtake Gasly. We're still stuck behind him. We are 4th on the road of 5 cars that are clearly going to try to go the distance on the hards and avoid the second stop. Speaking of second stop, it's beginning. Sainz has already pit. Norris went on to the softs, not the hards. Behrman is up to 10th place. 8.5 seconds down, much better than the 12, almost 13 that he was when he first came out. So he definitely gained some ground here, but that second stop is going to make others faster. So they are going to be faster here soon, and that could impact how things go. We could find ourselves going backwards later on and trying to hang on, where right now, trying to go forward without wasting the tires. And we won't be a full pit stop ahead of cars, as they've already proven that the undercut is working for them and that they've made forward progress. And it's just with that extra pit stop, they'll be quite a ways behind. It's just how far. As for Flourish, she's only 12 seconds down on Behrman. 12 seconds, that's it. That's the gap between them. It was 6. So Behrman has pulled away by another 6. And she'll be faster on the softs. It's that whole extra pit stop thing. For now, he's already a pit stop and then some ahead of her. But that just knocked her down from 13th to 17th. So she just lost 10 seconds as is, plus the extra tire wear, plus pitting 2 laps earlier. She definitely hurt her race and her chances of getting something out of this race. I think she's still got a decent chance of not being last, but she's 18th as is, and it's not going to be easy to do that. Behrman, meanwhile, is up to 7th. She comes out in last, but only a few seconds behind Hadier, but totally out of reach from everybody else. There's others that still need to pit again, but no one at the back of the grid. Gasly's the first one that you're like, yeah, probably needs to pit. Dragovic definitely needs to pit. Ocon definitely needs to pit. They're not going to make it 15 laps, Gasly. So there's 3 cars left. And then Norris. I don't know if Norris is going to try to squeak out those softs. Obviously, for now, it's allowed him to go from behind us to comfortably ahead. But it looks like he's going to need an extra stop. Just don't see those softs making it to the end. Piastri, Flourish, possible. Not going to be easy. Flourish, definitely. Those others, looking a little iffy for them. Flourish is on relatively new softs. Behrman is on well-used hards. Theoretically, Flourish should be quite a bit faster than him, but looking at their last lap times, she is a second a lap faster. So, she is gaining time. But that next lap, a 131.9. But a 132.8. So yeah, she is 8/10 to a second lap faster. So it is working out. She does have extra pace here. And we are approaching the end of the race already. Norris is going for it. Ocon seems to be going for it. We now have the advantage to be able to push on till the end of the race. The fuel is almost right. Flourish. Hers is a little worse off. There's absolutely no one lapped. I mean, everyone's still within half a lap of each other. It's a much more closely compacted field, and that just goes to show how close things are. Florsch has moved up a spot. She is up to 19th and all over the back of Dragovic here. So her extra pace is definitely showing itself, and her fuel is now good. We've got just a little bit left. Behrman is 6th. I was hoping for a top 5 today, but might still happen. Alright, 6th it is. There we go. Feels good. Coming up on the last corner. We've got the fuel right. So Behrman will finish in P6.
That's Leclerc.
Could have been better, but the one stopper did just about work out for us. Two stopper almost worked out for Florsch. She would have been 10 seconds better off, which means 17th really. I think that's the only difference for her, is she would have been one position better off, maybe 2. 16th. Well, yeah, she should have been 16th today, which would have been an okay performance. I suppose she probably lost a little more than the 10 seconds, right? The early pit stop, the time losses with the 10-15% drop off on the lockup. It might have been 12 to 13 seconds, but most likely a P16, which is an okay performance for her. Either way, 18th is an okay performance, and we got okay points today for Behrman. Got 8 points. Not a great day. Not too bad of a day. We didn't get 4 races in, but we definitely got 3. In the drivers, Behrman is 5th, equal with Sainz. We've been racing pretty regularly with. Red Bull is definitely down a little bit. In the constructors, it's Ferrari and Mercedes. Red Bull slips from 1st to 3rd in this race. McLaren, and we remained 5th for the time being. Alpine and Alfa Romeo showing that they can definitely score points. But Aston Martin, Haas, and AlphaTauri, not so much showing that they can score points. But they're probably going to reach 42 by the end of the season, you would think. So for us to take 7th, these two, and we know they can score plenty. We know McLaren can score plenty. I feel like if we get to about 70, I think that might be safe from these 3 at the bottom, while getting overtaken, by the 3 closest to us, the midfield 3. So if we can get to about 70, I think we might just pull that trigger and get Tanaka in the seat. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.